Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back for a Tuesday edition of the Steel City Sports Report, where we talk everything Steelers, Penguins, and Pirates. I'm your host, Brady Vini. We're back again talking some more Pirates. Today, they played a game last night. We're going to recap everything that happened in that contest. Going to talk about the Pittsburgh Penguins and what happened last night. Not sure how many of you were here for that, but the NHL draft lottery happened, and the literal worst case scenario for the Pittsburgh Penguins was realized. Also going to talk a little bit Pittsburgh Steelers, couple birthdays to celebrate, couple new numbers for rookies to talk about as well, and also a new alternate helmet that will be coming their way this upcoming season. But first things first, if you are new here, please subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so that you never miss when I am live again. Also, like and share this video and comment in the live chat. I love interacting with you folks who do comment. You put something in there, whether it's a question, opinion, comment, whatever the case, I can pop it up on the screen at a moment's notice, and we can start a dialogue there. Gonna start things off here, really on the same note that we've been talking for the past, week or so now. Pittsburgh Penguins continue to be bad. They started a new series in St. Louis last night against the Cardinals. Carmen Mlodzinski was on the bump for the Bucks. Things actually got off to a pretty damn good start. Bucks on the road, batted first. O'Neal Cruz, he gets on with a hustle infield single, catching the Cardinals starting pitcher Miles Michaelis napping. He beats out an infield single. Then hopefully, we talked about Brian Reynolds maybe starting to get hot here in a new month. He blasts one out to right field, sneaks it inside the foul pole out there. Bucks got up to a 2-0 lead. Carmen Mlodzinski on the bump for the Bucks, like I said. Pretty good for his standards. I still think he should be a long-term bullpen option and not in the starting rotation, especially when you got younger guys like Carmen or like Bubba Chandler and Thomas Harrington and so many more down in AAA right now. But Mlodzinski did all right. 4 2/3 innings pitched, so he went a little bit longer than what I expected, almost 5 complete innings. Gave up 4 hits, 2 runs, both of those earned, struck out 2, and he only got, crushed twice on 2 solo shots. So all right for his standards. However, how the hell Derek Shelton still has a job right now beats the hell out of me. He went out, got Mlodzinski there in the bottom of the 5th inning. Mlodzinski, he was upset that he was getting taken out. So he was going all right, comes out and gets Mlodzinski without, barely any signs of struggling. Brings in Ryan Borucki, who's been one of your best relief pitchers this season. You got him, Dennis Santana, Justin Lawrence before he got hurt. Those guys have been really, really good out of the pen this year. Borucki comes in. He only makes 13 pitches, which is insane. And then Shelton got Borucki, brought in Chase Shugart, who as of late has been fairly decent, but tonight he looked every bit like the guy who couldn't stick on the major league roster with the Red Sox last year and had a 7+ ERA in AAA. He got hit around. The Cardinals ended up scoring 6 runs total in this game, 4 in the 6th inning against Shugart, who didn't even record an out. So that's how that went there. Like I said, St. Louis, they had 6 extra base hits. 3 of those were home runs. Really just looking at who all had good games. Reynolds, 2-run home run. O'Neal Cruz continues to look amazing, like he's finally tapped into that superstar potential that we know he has. Emmanuel Valdez and Adam Frazier, 2 guys who I'm still confused as hell are still in the lineup on a constant basis. They had 2 hits, so every once in a while a blind squirrel finds a nut. In that case, Pittsburgh now losers of their last 5 straight and 9 of their last 11. They have double the amount of losses now on the season, a record of 12-24. And the reason why I am saying that is because they are now on a historically bad pace here, ladies and gentlemen. The Pirates right now at 12-24 record, like I just said, on pace for 108 losses this year in year 6 of the regime with Ben Cherington and Derek Shelton at the helm. That would be the most losses in a single season by the Pirates since 1952, which I believe was when the 162 game schedule was put in place, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, things are very, very bad. We're in year 6 of, we tore everything down when Charrington came in, seemingly did it the right way. If you are going to do a rebuild, do it right, tear it down to the studs and build from anew. So they tore down that, condemned house that was left by Neil Huntington, which, I mean, hey, the more and more as days go past by and looking at 2013 and through 2015, starting to wish Neil Huntington was bad in comparison to today's product. But yeah, I mean, you tore it down to the studs, you set a new foundation and you build it up, and now this house is built not with clay. A clay house would be stronger. It's built with feces on top of feces, and it's just completely and totally bad. The Pirates on pace for their worst record in franchise history in the 162 game era. So looks like if we keep this up, and there's no sign of it stopping either, no changes have been made, no changes will be made for some time, most likely. I think at earliest you're going to see Derek Shelton get fired maybe near the end of this month. But in all honesty, what is that going to change? I mean, is he in over his head? Yeah, but is somebody else going to come in here and turn this, very, very poor hitting lineup where you're forced to put in Tommy Pham, Jared Triolo, Adam Frazier every single day? It's not going to get any better from there. Go to the comments real quick. Hey, what's up, man? Glad to see you are here today. Hope things are going well for you, much better than what is currently going on the field for the Bucks. And yeah, just stuck talking with that. No Penguins news other than the draft lottery that happened last night. No other news really coming out on the Steelers yet. The next thing you might hear substantial news on that front will be coming here on the 9th through the 12th. That's when the rookie mini camp begins. So yeah, just talking Pirates and their very poor state right now that shows no signs of improvement, and it just keeps getting worse and worse. Each and every low expectation that you set for them, thinking they can't be any worse than this, they shatter that expectation and they go even low. What's that that politician who I keep seeing his videos on Instagram. I think it's Eric Mays, who passed away a while ago, who goes, "When they go low, I go lower." That is what the Pirates are doing here with each and every passing game, where they continue to look worse and worse and worse. Looking ahead to tonight, hopefully this losing streak can stop and we can have a brief commercial break of, happiness watching Pirates baseball before they go back to sucking again. It is a Paul Skeens Day. Happy Paul Skeens Day to those of you who celebrate. So hopefully Skeens can put an end to this 5-game skid. Looking at the lineup here tonight, O'Neal Cruz in center field, Brian Reynolds in right, Andrew McCutchen DH. So your typical 1, 2, 3 in the lineup there. And after that, a very disappointing last 6 in the starting lineup. Ke'Bryan Hayes, who hitting better than what he was last year. He's batting 4th here tonight, an off night for Joey Bart and Emmanuel Valdez. So Ke'Bryan Hayes, who hasn't hit an extra base hit in who knows how long, he'll bat 4th. Alexander Canario, who is the epitome of the phrase, everything that this guy hits, he destroys. What's his problem? We got to teach him to hit. So you're probably going to see him maybe strike out twice, get, a ground ball here and there or a pop up, and then maybe he'll hit a double. He bats fifth. Matt Gorski, who honestly I kind of have hope for him the most out of this, bottom half of the lineup. He bats sixth and will play first base tonight. Maybe he can run into a ball and hit one out. We know he's got the pop for it going back to spring training. Jared Triolo in there again. He'll play second base, or he'll play shortstop tonight. Excuse me. Finally, they're actually putting in somebody new into the lineup, and after 3-4 days now of him being on the major league roster again, Leover Peguero, he'll bat eighth tonight and bat at second base. Probably will, have as much success as most of the other guys in this lineup, but at least it's someone new and it can generate a little bit of false hope in your mind instead of just watching the same garbage over and over again. And of course, catching tonight, batting ninth, the former 1-1 overall pick, Henry Davis, who has once gone from, hey, maybe a year or two ago, hey, this guy, he's got some pop. Maybe he can be a long-term bat. Now he's been reduced to being Skeens' personal catcher, getting in there every, 1 or 2 out of 5 days. And, maybe he'll be able to keep one fair enough because he is the ultimate pull hitter. Back to the comments here. I won't be watching the game tonight. Going to tune into the Pacers playing tonight. It just makes me so sad. Haha. Yeah, I mean, I don't blame you, for watching anything else other than the Bucks game. I'll probably be flipping back and forth with whatever playoff hockey is going on tonight, all that good stuff, and I'll be busy doing stuff more on that at the end of the show. I have an announcement to make to all of you, but yeah, Pirates, that is a 7:45 start here tonight. Just some other news on the Bucks as well. They did make another roster transaction here today. Nobody coming up to the big league level quite yet, making a return, but we are getting closer. The Pirates today transferred the rehab assignments for first baseman Spencer Horwitz and right-handed relief pitcher Dari Moreta to AAA Indianapolis. I take that and, expect that as a huge sign that they will be returning sooner rather than later. So maybe another week or so, if that, and they'll be back with the main club. Horwitz, he was with AA Altoona. Meanwhile, Moreta, I think he was down at Pirate City with the, single A teams, getting some work there, working his way back from Tommy John surgery. So Moreta, not sure how much of a help he'll be to the bullpen. He'll probably be, hopefully another average bullpen arm that you can depend on every now and again, like Barucki and Santana. Meanwhile, Horwitz, at least he'll be bringing the actual skill set of a major league first baseman to the club, and you won't be, sending out Spence or Emmanuel Valdez, who's still learning the position, or Andy Rodriguez when he gets back healthy. So, because that's his second position, and Gorski, think he's not a full-time first baseman. Jared Triolo, he's your best first baseman on roster currently, but even then can't depend on him to play there every single game. But Horwitz and Moreta returning soon, that's a good sign. Maybe they can be a little bit of help, but this team is going to need a whole lot more to climb out of this crater, not a hole, a crater that they are in. Thought I had something else there. Nope, that's it. So yeah, so that's it for the Bucko talk right now. Like I said, we're going to tune in at 7:45 tonight and hopefully see Paul Skeens by his own will and skill get this team out of the hole. The only downside is that Skeens, if a team has his number, it is the Cardinals. I believe Skeens is 0-3 against the Redbirds thus far in his career. So hoping for a change in tide in that as well. Gonna switch things over to some hockey talk for a brief moment. Last night was on here for a little under 2 hours. Stayed on the first hour from 6 to 7, talking some news. Then stayed on at 7 o'clock for the NHL draft lottery. The Penguins entered the night last night with the ninth best odds to get the first overall pick. They were originally placed in the ninth spot in the draft order heading into last night. I believe a 5% chance to get the first overall pick. Things got close as they were doing the live drawing on ESPN, which watching that, and I was just sitting here thinking, like, okay, hopefully I'm not a dumbass, trying to figure out what's going on the TV. Everybody on Twitter and everybody else was like so confused as to how the lottery worked and how they were pulling the balls and putting them in, trying to figure out what teams were getting eliminated and all that. So I was the only one confused. All I know is that after they pulled 3 of the 4 balls, the Penguins, they were among the 7 teams left in contention for the first overall pick. They needed ball number 1 or number 10 to get drawn. Unfortunately, I believe it was ball 12 or 13. And to make, go from potentially getting the first overall pick, being the second team from the bottom to get the first overall pick, the team with the worst odds that were left on that board, they got the first overall pick. That, of course, being their division rival, New York Islanders. So the Islanders, who for the Penguins have missed the playoffs now for 3 years in a row, but the last 2 times they were in the playoffs, it was the Islanders who took out the Penguins. They now jump the Penguins in the draft lottery and get the first overall pick. Penguins then were not in too much contention for the second overall pick, and literally their worst case scenario happened. The Penguins entered tonight with a 5% chance at getting the first overall pick. They also had a 1.7% chance of their worst case scenario, which was falling back 2 spots. That was exactly what happened. The Penguins fell from 9th to 11th because I believe it was the Utah Hockey Club. They then jumped ahead of the Penguins as well for the 4th overall pick. I believe. I thought they were going to get the second overall pick, but they somehow didn't. I'm still confused as to how they did it there on the broadcast, but the Penguins, they dropped 2 spots to 11th, as well as the New York Rangers, who the Penguins do own a first-round pick of the Rangers. However, it is top 13 protected. The Rangers, they picked 12th in that order, so they're probably going to stick and pick at this point, seeing how they don't want to give their division rival Penguins back-to-back first-round picks, and also they are, after hiring Mike Sullivan, going to be in a win-now mode, and they're thinking, hey, let's just give the Penguins our first-round pick next year without any conditions, because we're more likely than not going to be picking any higher than 12th again anyways. So just a complete and total disaster. Last night, literally the worst case scenario happened. The Penguins had better odds of getting the first overall pick than they did falling down 2 spots in the draft. And yeah, we tanked for most of the year, and that late winning streak there, once Tristan Jarry and Ville Koivunen and that whole bunch from the AHL got called up, that possibly, cost the Penguins the first overall pick, or at least a top 5 pick in this draft. And now the Penguins, I'll look on the bright side. If the Penguins weren't going to win the draft lottery, I'm cool with it being this year. If they suck again next year, I would want them to win that draft lottery so much more, because we all know next year that is the Gavin McKenna draft class. McKenna currently being viewed as one of the next brightest superstars to come out of the draft, like Connor Bedard a couple years ago. maybe even better than Macklin Celebrini, who is a pretty highly touted prospect who came out last year. So if the Penguins weren't going to win the draft this year, weren't going to win the draft lottery, I'd much rather it be next year if they suck again than this year in a weaker crop of talent. The only downside, another downside, is that I believe I heard, one scout or analyst say that in this year's draft, there are only, 9 truly, NHL caliber or like NHL difference making prospects at the top of the draft. And of course, the Penguins now picking 11th instead of 9th. They're going to need 1 or 2 or 3 teams to make a mistake and take someone other than those 9 prospects. I mean, I don't have the list in front of me, but I know you had James Higgins from Boston College, Michael Misa, Matthew Schaefer, who's going to go number 1 overall, most likely, Porter Martone, Jake O'Brien, Anton Frondell. There was another prospect too from Sweden, last name Eklund. So we'll have to wait and see how things go for the Pens after that. Just, on to next year, hopefully. Gavin McKenna 2026. Kyle Dubas said we're still going to be rebuilding next year, most likely. So on we go. Hoping for Gavin McKenna. Before I go into my random hodgepodge of Pittsburgh, other Pittsburgh sports news and stories, gonna hit on the Steelers real quick. So today, this here from let me find it. This here from Andrew Lind, who is a writer at sportslogos.net.com. He came out with a report today that, according to multiple sources, the Cleveland Browns, LA Chargers, New Orleans Saints, Washington Commanders, and your Pittsburgh Steelers will all unveil new alternate helmets this summer. So the Steelers, the traditional black helmet, singular, yellow stripe and logo on one side, that might be tinkered. That might be a little bit different. And just looking at what everybody is hoping happens, I'm going to point it out right here on my screen. That right there is what we are hoping for, ladies and gentlemen. Those gold domes hopefully returning. I would love to see those with the all black color rush uniforms with the yellow, with the gold numbers and nameplates. Hoping that it is those alternate yellow helmets. Again, that will be coming later this summer. We'll have to wait and see. I actually found that helmet in Ocean City and brought it back home. So hopefully that's a replica helmet. I can't really put it on. So hopefully that will be the helmet of choice. If not, be interested to see what the design is and what jerseys they will wear that alternate helmet with. Not much news today, like I said, other than the Bucks and their horridness. So we're going to get now into the random news segment for today. Talked yesterday a little bit about the Pittsburgh Steelers rookies, some of their draft picks and their undrafted free agents as well, getting their new numbers. We got a couple of free agent signings that they made over the past couple of months, getting new numbers as well. Offensive lineman Stephen Jones, he will wear number 79. Defensive back Kyler McMichael, he will be wearing number 37. And of course, the newest Steeler, who is Robert Woods, wide receiver veteran, who will probably make the team as the 4th or 5th wide receiver, be a veteran in that room, other than DK Metcalf, who even Metcalf as the eldest in the room, I believe, at 27 years old. Woods will wear number 16. Hopefully he can shake off the stank of that number. I believe it was Quez Watkins who had an abysmal training camp and preseason last year with the Bucks. So those are some new numbers as well. Also the Steelers, they once again had another rookie camp invitee. Rookie camp beginning here in a couple of days. hitting close to home for me. My alma mater, they invited safety from Pitt, PJ O'Brien, to a rookie minicamp tryout. O'Brien, I think he was one of those veteran leader types on the Pitt defense. Would occasionally make a splash play, but obviously didn't have too much production at Pitt to get him drafted or become a primary undrafted free agent signee. But hey, maybe, the Steelers, out of all NFL teams, they get the closest look at any college. They share the same building as Pitt. So, Mike Tomlin, Omar Khan, one of the scouts who are walking around that building, they can occasionally just look out the window at Pitt's practice field and see what O'Brien's doing, and that production and, etiquette there at Pitt will land him at the Steelers rookie mini camp here in a couple of days. Looking here, I got my news here scattered all around here. Happy birthday is in order, sticking with the Steelers here, to Captain Cam Hayward. Happy birthday, Captain Cam. Hopefully you get to have a repeat performance of last year. I'll admit it, I was one of those. I wasn't, a hardcore doubter, but still, though, I was wondering how you would return off of that groin injury that you had 2 years ago. You came back, was an absolute monster, and you had the best season out of anybody on the entire Steelers defense. So happy birthday, hoping that you continue to age like fine wine and have another repeat performance this upcoming season. Also, sharing a birthday with Cam Hayward today, a fellow Ohio State alumni and new Steeler, Jack Sawyer. I believe he's now 23 or 24 years old, but new Steeler Jack Sawyer. He'll wear number 33. It's his birthday today as well. Happy birthday and welcome to Steelers Nation, Jack Sawyer. And two more loose stories here. Yesterday, talked about Sidney Crosby. He will not be taking too much time off this summer. He is going to be playing in the IIHF World Championship National Tournament over in Sweden and Denmark this upcoming summer. I believe that tournament starts this Friday and it'll run through the 25th. Crosby joining Team Canada. Also joining Team Canada, a couple friends and former teammates of Sid, Nathan McKinnon, Marc-Andre Fleury. Never thought I'd see Sid and Flower on the same team again, but we're going to get a look at that here in this international tournament. So Flower will be there. McKinnon will be there with Sid. Maybe Harrison Brunick. I think he's trying to make the team sort of in a, tryout phase with Team Canada right now. Hopefully he gets to make it too. One of the Penguins' young and up-and-coming prospects. However, Flower, he won't be the only teammate to join Crosby for Team Canada. Former Pittsburgh Penguins defenseman Mike Matheson has been added to the Team Canada national team roster. So former Penguin Mike Matheson will play with Sid once again. Currently, I believe he is with the Montreal Canadiens, who just got eliminated in the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. And there will be a little bit of camaraderie and chemistry built in there. Matheson had a decent time here in Pittsburgh, but then he got traded away, and that was a part of the one of the many horrible trades that former Penguins GM Ron Hextall made, trading Matheson to the Canadiens for Jeff Petrie, among many other parts of that trade. And the last news story that I have starred here, MLB insider Jeff Passan for ESPN. He is sort of the Adam Schefter in the baseball world. He came out with an article recently projecting the next mega contracts to come out in the MLB over the next couple of years. And he broke it up into like different, brackets, the $100 million contract bracket, 200, 300, all the way up to a $600 million contract. And he had two Pirates on the list. Nobody in the 100, contract range, but in the $200 contract range, he had none other than Pittsburgh Pirates center fielder O'Neal Cruz. Trying to find out where where he had it here. Yes, O'Neal Cruz. So this from Passan's piece on ESPN.com. O'Neal Cruz, center fielder for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Cruz looks as if he's finally figuring it out at the plate. His home run rate has jumped. He has 14 steals in 32 games after swiping a career best 22 in 146 games last year. His walk rate is the 5th best in baseball. That is evident so far this year, taking a lot more walks, striking out less. His strikeouts are down. All that's separating him from stardom is a ghastly glove in center, where the 6'7" Cruz moved from shortstop. Even if right field is his ultimate destination, Cruz's offensive abilities are bountiful enough to earn a big number that starts with a 2 when he hits free agency at 30. Again, that caveat there at the end there from Jeff Passan, when he hits free agency at 30. As much as I want the Pirates to right now sign O'Neal Cruz to a contract, could he reach 200? Maybe. I think if you're looking more towards the mid to high 100s for Cruz, just to keep him with the Pirates, because I don't think they're going to fork over a $200 contract just yet. If it's going to be for anyone, it's going to be for Paul Skeens, and I don't think they're interested in doing that quite yet for some mind-boggling reason. But Cruz, everything Jeff Passan said there is true. Cruz has looked like a completely and totally different guy this year. Started out the year slowly in center field, but he's shown little by little, baby step by baby step improvement out there. He threw out someone at home plate with a great throw last night. So his center field defensive capabilities, they have improved, but at the plate, it sucks that he is on a team and at the top of a lineup that behind him you got maybe Brian Reynolds and maybe Andrew McCutchen, and then a whole bunch of nothingness that you'd be lucky to get 3 to 4 hits from 6 guys in the lineup. But Cruz, he's crushing the ball when he is given the opportunity, because teams are pitching around him more. He for the first time in I think 34 tries, got caught stealing last night. That's all right. He's still stealing the bag almost every time he gets on base. Flies like the wind, getting contact more, driving the ball out of the yard when he's not. He's hitting the ball hard through holes in the infield and hitting gaps out there. And we comp him to Elly De La Cruz in Cincinnati, and looks like Cruz is finally catching up in that race of who's the better player. Of course, Elly De La Cruz is still playing at shortstop, a more impact position, but if Cruz can continue to, keep going at the pace he's at with the bat, on fairly good pace for a 30 season, maybe even a 30 home run, 40 steal season at the rate he's going on the base pads, he could very well earn a contract that starts with a 2, just like Jeff Passan said. Again, for the Bucks, I doubt they're going to give him that 2. That's why Passan put, the caveat of when he hits free agency at 30 years old. If you're the Bucks, I'd offer Cruz a 7-8 year deal right now worth, I think Brian Reynolds, he's making 170. So I give Cruz, 180, 185 for 7-8 years right now. Will he take it? That's another question that, I can't really answer, but, that's what I would hope happens. But management, this owner, this general manager, they're not smart enough to do anything of the sort. So the comments real quick. I got to gonna lose service for the rest of my shift. Have a good day. Have a good day, A. I will see you then, buddy. Always excellent content on your show, bro. You crushed the NFL draft. Thank you, Lance. Welcome back. Appreciate you being here tonight. Gonna move back here to the Jeff Passan article on the next mega contracts that will get signed in the MLB. Skipping over the 300 category here, going into the $400 million category for the next mega contract to come here. And to no surprise, I said there were two Pirates, covered O'Neill Cruz. You can probably guess who the second Pirate to get another mega deal is. That, of course, Paul Skeens, passing rights. If it's not Tarek Skubal from the Detroit Tigers or Yuri Perez to get a $400 million plus mega contract, it's bound to be Skeens. The 22-year-old helped his clock by winning Rookie of the Year and the full year of service that comes with it. Good for Skeens, maybe in getting a bag. Bad for the Pirates, though I'm happy Skeens won Rookie of the Year. That raised the expectations for the franchise, but they seem to ignore it. He'll be just 27 years old when he's on the market after the 2029 season. And if Skubal or Perez does indeed crack the $400 million threshold, it would be no surprise to see Skeens, the best pitching prospect in a generation, parlay his productivity, age, and marketability into becoming baseball's first $500 million pitcher. Again, passing putting him here in the $400 million category. I'd put Skeens easily in the $500 million category. He is going to, I think it's inevitable. Unfortunately, that's just the financials and the economy of baseball that he's not going to spend any more time here than he has to in Pittsburgh. Maybe another year or two if you're lucky. If you were smart enough, Bob Nutting and Ben Cherington, to sign him to an extension right this second, but they're not. They're completely clueless. But Skeens, I think he easily, once he will be free from this incompetently run team, he is going to, whether it's from oh my God, I almost said the Nationals, whether it's from the New York Yankees or the Mets, the Dodgers, one of these bigger market teams, he's going to make $500 million. It's just a matter of who it's going to be. Fortunately, don't think it's going to be here unless some miracle up above has Bob Nutting sell the team to, someone with deep pockets like Steve Cohen, who owns the Mets, or, something like that, and will be, all in committed to, making this team a great one amongst the great teams in the MLB. Unfortunately, I just don't see that happening. But yeah, day by day, I think Skeens' price tag is just going to get higher. It's probably going to get higher tonight. Hopefully he can figure out whatever book that the St. Louis Cardinals have on him, and that he can end the Bucks losing streak here this evening. Let me do one quick stroll here through Twitter to see if anything is going on news-wise here before I log off for today. Andrew Filipponi from 93.7 The Fan, he's just commented half an hour ago on that Jeff Passan article about Skeens, saying that the Pirates will never do it. Exactly what I'm saying here, saying that baseball needs a salary cap ASAP. And yeah, it does, because the Pirates, teams like them, the bottom feeders of the league, who have been there for half to a full decade now, a decade in the Pirates case, they're not going to get, anywhere with, teams spending more and more big contracts on these big free agents, keeping homegrown talent that is, worth something. That's getting harder and harder to do if you're a smaller market team in Pittsburgh. I mean, they're not the smallest of markets. I mean, hell, the Brewers are doubling them, probably almost tripling them in spending, and they got half the market size that Pittsburgh has. But a salary cap in baseball, I don't think you're going to get either a cap or a floor. You're not going to get one or the other. It's going to be a thing where you either get both or get nothing. Does that happen? I don't know. I'm leaning towards no, just because Rob Manfred, the commissioner of baseball, he's just going to keep seeing more and more money rolling in, and he's not going to change a damn thing. He doesn't care. As long as the Dodgers and the Yankees are, cruising right along as the juggernauts at baseball, he couldn't give a damn about the Pirates or Rockies. Hell, I'll even throw in the Cincinnati Reds. All these teams that their fans deserve better than what they're getting. So, just looking here. I mean, geez, I'm scrolling past the Indianapolis Indians Twitter page now. Tell me, from top to bottom here, I'm gonna go out of order than what they have it here, but how much better would the Pirates in the MLB be if they had the Indians rotation than the current rotation that they have now? So let's start with the best pitcher in AAA right now, Bubba Chandler. Comparing him to Skeens, Chandler, he's a hell of a prospect. Probably going to be somewhere between Skeens and Jared Jones in terms of, young pitchers in the organization, but still, though, hell of a prospect. Mitch Keller in the MLB, comparing him to, I'm going to put, just from what I've seen him do in AA, going to put him head to head with Hunter Barco right now. I give Keller the slight edge right now, but Barco, he's right behind him and he's closing fast. Currently, your third starter in the rotation for the Bucks right now is Bailey Falter. Him compared to Thomas Harrington, as Falter, he's been very hit or miss this year, more miss than hit in that part. So I'm going to give Harrington the edge there, slight edge. Andrew Heaney, same thing, looked like a Cy Young candidate 2 games. And then after that, he got shelled. Him compared to Braxton Ashcraft down in AAA. I'm not sure how Ashcraft is doing, but, he can't be too far off. So I give it a tie there. And then Carmen Mlodzinski compared to Mike Burrows. I'd rather bring up Burrows and move Mlodzinski to the bullpen at this point, because at least Burrows, he's works off of a starting pitcher's, stamina and whatnot, and he doesn't get shelled once he gets through the lineup for a second and third time. So just absolutely sucks that, again, I said you can fire Derek Shelton. However, it might not change much. You need to get rid of, Ben Cherington, because, his talent acquisition over the past couple of years has been absolutely rancid. And then beyond that, getting rid of Bob Nutting would be the ultimate difference maker for this franchise. And just scrolling through here, I'm not seeing too much more new news. Am seeing, a bunch of pictures, I will say, from the off-season training, phase that the Pittsburgh Steelers are currently in. Jaylen Warren looks jacked. Looks like he put on a lot of muscle this offseason, heading to at least start out as the Steelers running back number 1. Pat Freiermuth as well, getting work in. So, yeah, we'll have to wait and see here till rookie minicamp starts here on Friday. Then we get a look at Jack Sawyer, Caleb Johnson, Derek Harmon, all of these young rookies that we just took that we all have high hopes for. So I think that's going to do it for today's show. I did say that I had an announcement, and I will make that now. So I will say off the bat here, there will be no more live streams for the rest of the week. No more scheduled live streams. That is for the rest of the week. I'll be busy doing a whole bunch of different things. So no scheduled live streams Monday, Thursday, and Friday for the rest of this week. As for next week, there will be no scheduled live streams then as well. I will be taking that week off. However, I will put out the caveat that if there is some mega breaking news story for any of the three teams, whether it be, no, Dubas said that we're going to wait till June for this to happen, but say the Penguins, they hire a new head coach, or say the Steelers, I don't know what would count as a big story for them during this preseason, but say they get a contract extension done with TJ Watt or something like that, or for the Bucks case, if Derek Shelton gets fired, if some massive news story like that, if some massive news story like that happens, wherever I'm at, whether it be, on my cell phone or whether it be, on my laptop here, whether it be, on my laptop using the laptop camera and microphone. Anyways, if there's a massive news story like that, I will do to the best of my ability to go live as soon as possible after a story like that happens. But if nothing like that happens, no scheduled live stream for the rest of this week or next week. I will be back 2 Mondays from now. That will be the 19th. So until then, thank you all for joining me, and hope you all still, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so that you do come back to me when I am live again on the 19th. Appreciate you all joining me so far. So no scheduled live streams for the rest of this week or next week. I will be live for impromptu live streams if massive breaking news stories happen. But until then, thank you all very much. Also, you can keep track of me on my X account there. I'll be reacting, reposting, and commenting on, other news stories as well that are of lesser significance. But until then, thank you all very much. Appreciate you all joining me here tonight. Subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications so that you will not miss when I am live again. Also, like and share this stream, comment on this stream as well. Thank you guys for joining me here tonight. I appreciate you all very, very much. I will see you back here on Monday, the 19th. Until then, thank you guys, and I will see you then. Peace out.